Good morning, everyone. I'd just like to welcome you to a brief presentation on the effects of light and ink on paper. At the beginning of the month, I hung some post-it notes on a window. Half of them were exposed to light and the other half were protected by cardboard. As you can see, there has been significant fading, even in a period of just 1 month. Poor quality paper is a significant problem for all libraries. Now, this all stems from changes in the way that paper was manufactured from around the mid-19th century. I'd like to introduce you to the concept of inherent vice. Now, what this means is that even in ideal conditions, the paper's inherent structure means that it will still deteriorate, although proper storage will see this happen at a much slower rate. High temperatures and humidity will speed up the deterioration. Ultraviolet light comes from natural light and some light fittings, and this has a damaging effect on paper. Light reacts with lignin in the paper, and this causes the paper to darken and become brittle. And you can see from this image I have here of an old Bible, the way the paper has darkened and it contains brown spots. This is why we use light fittings which emit low levels of ultraviolet light. Early inks were made from carbon and linseed oil, and these were very stable. However, modern inks are dye-based and are not as stable. Some are water-soluble and can run if left in humid conditions, and some are extremely light-sensitive. Now, you can see from my experiment that even in the course of 1 month, there is some subtle fading of the ink. Of course, books are made up of more than just paper, and the other materials that they contain need to be considered. Binding materials are susceptible to changes in humidity. Book leather can degrade. Book cloth is susceptible to mould. And the adhesives that are used in the books can also degrade over time. Proper storage and preservation techniques can slow this process. Keeping a stable environment plays an important part in preserving our items. Controlling temperature and humidity is really important, and fluctuations in temperature and humidity should be avoided. And it's also important that we keep an eye on and monitor our environmental conditions. There are a number of things we can do, from storing maps flat, putting photos in albums, using good quality containers, and teaching appropriate handling techniques to preserve our local history collection. It's important to remember that photos are particularly sensitive to heat and humidity. In order to preserve them, we can store them in good quality albums and use enclosures to protect the photographs. And of course, they need to be stored in an area of low temperature and low humidity. Thank you everyone for joining me.